Tonight, Southern California going up in flames as multiple large wildfires burn out of control.
Oh my God. Look at every single home.
These fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits.
Everything was in there. So we lost everything.
What's your plan now?
I don't know.
The CBS Evening News starts now. And good evening. As you can see, we are covering one of the most destructive fires in California history. I'm Nora O'Donnell with Tony DeCopel, who is on the ground in Los Angeles with our team of reporters. And we thank you for joining us as we're going to dedicate tonight's entire broadcast to those historic and devastating fires in Southern California. The breaking news at this hour, at least 5 people have died, and officials say many people are hurt tonight, as at least 5 large fires are raging out of control. More than 1,000 structures have been destroyed in the explosive Palisades fire. Nearly 200,000 people are under evacuation orders and warnings, and some of the most exclusive and expensive neighborhoods in the U.S. are in danger. Firefighters are facing wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour. The U.S. Navy, we've learned, has just dispatched 10 water-dropping helicopters to help try and beat back the flames. We have a team of correspondents across the fire zone, and we're going to begin tonight with CBS Morning's co-host Tony DeCopel in Pacific Palisades. Good evening, Tony.
Hey, good evening, Nora. I can tell you the wind is still very gusty around here, and the only rain is ash. You can feel it on your skin, on your clothes. Directly across from us, there is a destroyed neighborhood. We've got this bombed-out grocery store to our right, and there are still active fires burning on 3 sides of us. As one firefighter we ran into told us, this isn't the kind of fire that skips every other home. It is just total destruction wherever it finds something to burn. And speaking of destruction, about 25 miles from here, we find CBS's Lilia Luciano in the Altadena area where that Eaton fire is raging. Lilia, that's the fire that killed those 5 people in that breaking news tonight. And I can tell from your shot, it is still very intense where you are.
It is still volatile, Tony. I feel that wind on my face and the punishing heat on my back. In the last 20 minutes, we have seen this house go from not noticing that it was up in flames when we were across the street to complete explosion, threatening those trees. Across the street, look at this dark black smoke. This house was just a few flames, and what we're seeing is the wind behave so erratically. Water pressure has been an issue. As you can see, the fire trucks and the fire engines are doing whatever they can to fight this fire. And because of the wind acting so erratically and being so fast and so intense, the flights, the firefighters couldn't throw retardant from the air, couldn't stop this fire overnight. Tonight, it is expected to pick up. And what we fear is that because the wind is going in whatever direction, every community could be under threat. Tony?
Lilia Luciano with black smoke and flames still large there in Altadena. That Eaton fire, Lilia, thank you very much. That Eaton fire that Lilia is covering is so large this evening that we actually have 2 crews on that scene. So we're going to turn now to CBS's Chris Van Cleve to show us how quickly this fire developed and the terrible toll it has already taken.
The battle against the deadly Eaton fire is now an around-the-clock fight. The wind-driven blaze exploded to more than 10,000 acres by morning, ripping through homes, burning cars, and torching houses of worship. Nearly 33,000 were forced to evacuate.
There's so much wind right now, and these red-hot embers coming from all over. Wherever they land, they can spark a fire. If it lands on a house, that house can go up in minutes.
Police scrambled to save lives.
They were barely able to get people out before these structures started burning.
More than 1,400 firefighters from across California and several western states are struggling to beat back the LA County firestorm. Residents of this nursing home had to be rushed to safety.
It's tough. It's tough. They can't get up. They're stuck on the wheelchairs. We got to lift them up, put them in the vans.
Today, the growing scars of the Eaton fire became clear. Destruction, block after block.
It is the middle of the day Pacific time, but you wouldn't know it. The smoke is so intense here in Altadena that it is literally blotting out the sun.
When 91-year-old Dale Short returned to his Pasadena home of 60 years, he found only rubble. It was a house we watched burn just hours earlier as the hurricane-force wind gusts made the fire unfightable. When you came back up here this morning, what went through your mind?
Well, I have to be honest with you, it really hasn't hit me all yet. I mean, I've got 60 years of memories in that house and 3 children.
Yeah.
Now it's hitting me.
More than 13,000 structures remain threatened from this fire, and those deadly, dangerous winds are forecast to kick back up again tonight. The danger is far from over, Tony.
Yeah, you can say that again. Chris Van Cleef for us. Chris, thank you very much. We turn back to the fire where I am in the Pacific Palisades community. That fire has left much of this once idyllic neighborhood in ruins. This is a neighborhood nestled between the Santa Monica Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, a beautiful place, but now unfortunately all but wiped out. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti has been covering this disaster since it began yesterday, and he shows us now how it all unfolded.
As dawn broke in Pacific Palisades, we found a scene that can only be described as apocalyptic. The once vibrant village off iconic Sunset Boulevard had stood like this for decades.
Oh my God.
Until now.
We just arrived here in what is left of downtown Pacific Palisades, and I am overwhelmed by the scale of loss. Many people are going to return to homes that were lost, and even more important, their community completely gone.
Those flying into LAX last night saw an endless blanket of flame, all from the Palisades fire. Those on the ground doing everything they could to save homes.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry.
And when water was needed most, the hydrants ran out. 3 large water tanks are designed to hold 1 million gallons each. The first ran dry by 4:45 p.m. yesterday, the second by 8:30, and the third in the middle of the night.
We had a tremendous demand on our system in the Palisades. We pushed the system to the extreme.
The terrible toll, at least 1,000 structures destroyed, 15,000 more still at risk, and 37,000 residents who remain evacuated.
We're having to walk. This is crazy.
For many, evacuation orders came too late.
The flames moved in so quickly, people who were trying to evacuate, they panicked. Every car that you see here represents someone or a family that in that state of fear thought the best option was to abandon their cars and flee on foot.
Fire officials admit they were overwhelmed.
It's been more than 24 hours since this fire first ignited. Homes are still going up in flames on both sides of the street. Over here, this condo igniting, and there is not a single firefighter here on the street.
These fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits.
So many landmarks like this are quickly being erased off the map. Reinforcements are being brought in, but for a community like this, so much has already been lost. 50% has been damaged or destroyed, and this fire continues to explode tonight, Tony.
Jonathan Vigliotti finishing up day 2, now night 2 of his coverage from the front lines. Jonathan, thank you very much. Wildfires are not a weather phenomenon exactly like hurricanes or tornadoes, but wildfires are directly linked to weather conditions like wind and rain. To get more on the anatomy of this particular disaster, we're going to bring in CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
LA residents in a panic, desperate to save their home.
Hey, you're not going to be able to put that out.
During an unprecedented explosive wildfire in the middle of winter. Winds to hurricane strength, some nearly 90 miles per hour, scattering embers miles away, sparking more flames. Not something that typically happens in January because Los Angeles should be well into the rainy season. But downtown LA has received just over 1/4 inch of rain since May, the second driest stretch in nearly 150 years.
Our wildfires are definitely getting worse. We have had a very large increase in the size and the intensity of wildfire, and that is driven in part by a warming climate.
The drought drying out vegetation on top of the seasonal Santa Anas has made for a combustible mix. The Santa Ana winds created by this cold high pressure plaguing so much of the country, pushing dry air down over the mountains, compressing it through the canyons, and accelerating it all into a cataclysmic firestorm. The winds turning iconic palm trees into whipping flamethrowers, sending smoke and fire in every direction.
And Rob Marciano is with me now. Rob, you just reported on the lack of moisture in the atmosphere. How bad is it?
Yeah, these winds were obviously supercharged, but we had so much dry vegetation. That was a disaster. This is about the amount of rain we've seen in the past 9 months, just about a quarter of an inch of rain. We need to hit this 10 times. We need about 2 to 3 inches of rainfall to saturate everything to declare a fire season over, and that's not going to happen anytime too soon. Wow. So let's go over the conditions now and where we see them happening here in the next couple days. We are improving somewhat. The extreme high wind warnings will come to an end tonight, but the offshore winds will continue. We're going to see a different change in the wind direction, so that's going to create some problems. That areas that haven't burned may very well burn in the next 24 hours. There'll be more out of a traditional Santa Ana direction, but you can see that the winds do die down, so that's good. But right through the weekend, they'll be offshore, they'll be dry, and they'll be gusty at times, so we'll have high fire danger right through the weekend and no rain, unfortunately, in the near future. And climate change obviously playing a role in this,
Yeah,
too.
it plays a role. The no rain, that has been the forecast for many months now, it seems.
Unfortunately, that has been the trend, yeah.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Nora, we're going to get these masks back on, these goggles back on, and send it back to you in Washington.
Rob, thank you so much. President Joe Biden called the scope of the destruction astounding as he received a briefing from local officials and first responders earlier today. He was there on the ground in California, and he promised immediate federal support. I spoke to Captain Eric Scott with the LA Fire Department just moments ago about the apocalyptic conditions.
This is very challenging. We're currently enduring some of the most historic fire conditions on record. We have called for additional resources, so we are getting those. We need people to heed the warnings, to evacuate, to remember that you don't need to be told to go, that you can leave early.
All 4 fires in Los Angeles are 0% contained. What's the biggest challenge for your firefighters?
Extremely strong, erratic winds. It makes very dry conditions. All the hillsides and the fuels and the brush are very susceptible to a spark right now, and we're seeing explosive fire growth.
We have heard the reports about fire hydrants running dry. What's the problem? Do you have enough water?
Well, we did experience some challenges with water pressure while battling the Pacific Palisades fire, particularly yesterday. We worked real closely with the Department of Water and Power, and they did proactively fill all of the available water storage tanks. But the problem is the water availability was impacted at the higher elevations. The pressure wasn't quite what we needed, and so it affected some fire hydrants. We're using maybe 4 times the normal amount of water because we're having to use so many hose lines to put out all the fires.
Captain, I have to ask you, how are your firefighters doing?
They're beat up, but they're leaning forward. It's difficult. This is arduous work, extreme conditions, but we are systematically battling these historic conditions to the best of our ability.
Well, Captain, thank you so much for your efforts and all the firefighters. Please know that we are thinking of you and sending our prayers.
Thank you. Take care.
That was Captain Eric Scott from the LA Fire. It's a nerve-wracking time for the tens of thousands of people who don't know if they'll ever return to their homes. We're going to hear from them next. The latest now, the death toll in the wildfires stands at 5 people. But there's another human cost that will prove difficult to measure. Let's go back now to Tony DeCopel on the ground. Tony?
Yeah, Nora, it's the agony of waiting. You've got tens of thousands of people who have evacuated, but most of those people, as we found, don't know at this hour whether their homes are still standing. And so they are desperate for any information. At the top of a nearby hill, Palisades residents looked back at the flames. Matt Baker pulled up in the car he evacuated in.
We're 90% sure it's gone from what we're seeing.
After generations here, he's now not sure what's next.
Well, you've got stuff in the car here. What's your plan now?
I don't know.
As we spoke to Matt, Austin Malash saw our cameras and came by for news about his house in an area known as the Alphabet Streets. Not good, I told him, sharing a note from another resident. The Alphabet Streets are gone.
What was it like getting out yesterday?
It felt like it was out of a movie for real.
What does that mean?
Just like the embers falling and like the house, like you see all the red smoke coming at you. You don't really know what to do. It's hard to breathe. Yeah. It's a mind-boggling situation.
For Austin and his friends, it now feels like their whole childhoods are gone.
The village we knew is done. Everything we liked is got completely wiped out. We were just going on Instagram and Twitter, and we just see our high school in flames. Our football field's in flames. Like, it's unbelievable.
And another worry, the lack of water. Multiple residents told us the firefighters had nothing in the hydrants for hours.
There's a fire hydrant directly outside my house, and it wasn't working, like, at all. The firefighters can't just magically put the fire out. They need something to put it out.
Lindsay Horvath, a county supervisor for the Palisades, says she too is frustrated.
What do you say to a homeowner who says the hydrant in front of my house had no water in it as my home burned?
Well, the city resources are, they'll be looking at how these city fire hydrants continue to be managed, and with the unified command, when the county comes in, we're able to bring those additional resources into the area.
Back on that little hill overlooking the Palisades, some better news for Kevin Pazarande.
The wind has shifted. Can you see your house?
Yeah.
And it's still there?
Yeah.
The school his children go to is gone, but as the smoke cleared for a moment, he could see his house still standing.
Whatever possible good outcome could be achieved, I think that this community will see it.
That is a glimmer of hope for that family, and we are glad for it. But even for those families lucky enough to have a home, they may have little else to come back for. This used to be a grocery store next to me. Next door to that is a church. That church is gone, and so are multiple schools in this area. So, Nora, rebuilding really is going to take a long, long time.
So devastating for the community. Tony, thank you. We should know, too, that as it takes time to rebuild, some of California's history is gone forever. We'll have that story when we return. The deadly LA wildfires have not only taken lives and destroyed more than 1,000 structures, homes, and businesses, but it's also turning the California landscape into a hellscape. CBS's Tom Hansen reports on the Los Angeles sites that are recognizable around the world.
Landing in LA, the view from the plane was ominous. Smoke from the Palisades fire melding with the clouds, nearly blocking out the sun. Fire threatening the landmarks many Americans have come to know from TV and in movies. Smoke billowing above Santa Monica's iconic pier and amusement park.
Look at this, our house.
While flames crept dangerously close to the Getty Villa, home to more than 40,000 priceless works of art. The museum spared by an extensive effort to clear brush. The normally stunning Pacific Coast Highway, unrecognizable. Fire raging on both sides, destroying businesses and homes, including the Real Inn, a Malibu seafood destination for celebrities, locals, and visitors alike. Gone after nearly 4 decades. Further east, Palisades Charter High School went up in flames. It was the backdrop for movies like Freaky Friday and Carrie. While in Pasadena, an evacuation warning from the Eaton fire was issued for the area around the Rose Bowl. And several TV productions have been halted. That includes Grey's Anatomy. It includes Jimmy Kimmel. In addition to that, the LA Zoo closed today because of those high winds. Nora?
Concerned about that air quality. Tom Hansen, thank you. We'll be right back.
We're back, and we wanted to close tonight by zooming in on how these fires transformed a single street in a single neighborhood here in the Pacific Palisades. These on your screen now are before and after shots of Swarthmore Avenue in the Palisades, a Starbucks on your screen there, a clothing store, and a stationery shop, or what was. These are all businesses that were here yesterday, Nora, and all of them gone today. Almost nothing left.
Tony, thank you for your reporting, and everyone else. I know we'll see more of that tomorrow on CBS this mornings. And thankfully, the extreme winds are easing tonight, allowing firefighters to resume airdrops on the flames. But there is still a difficult and long road ahead for first responders and residents. They are in our thoughts and prayers. And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Good night.